Hey everyone, today we're going beyond the trope, the modern struggle of Black women in media. My name is Jolita.
My name is Jenna.
My name's Jemiah.
And my name is Anna. Today we'll be talking about what even is the black girlfriend trope. Okay, so let's start from the top. The black girlfriend trope is basically this. A black woman shows up as a love interest for a usually white male character. She's usually supportive, stable, emotionally mature, the one holding him down, and the one that helps him grow. And then, as soon as he gets his life together, he suddenly realizes he belongs with his original, usually white love interest.
Girl, why are we at the tutorial level for these men? This trope has existed for decades, it's not new, and it's not subtle, and it sends a very loud message that Black women are good enough to help you grow, but not good enough to end up with or stay with. And that is what we're here to interrogate today.
This leads us to our next part. Why does TV keep doing this? Well, there are a few reasons. Writers treat Black women as supporting tools, not fully developed characters. Instead of giving Black female characters depth, conflict, or dreams, they use them as relationship stepping stones.
And also, a lot of networks historically believed audiences wouldn't accept a long-term interracial couple, especially with the Black woman as the love interest. So they keep these relationships short and safe.
The Black girlfriend is often written as the growth character, but the comfort character that the person the show feels is in game is usually white. So the Black woman become the emotional pit stop, but not the destination.
But it can also include of giving the Black girlfriend her own ambitions, flaws, and arcs. She gets used as the responsible one until the plot doesn't need her anymore. It's giving, we'll call you when we need character development.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, this trope doesn't just affect how we view couples on TV, but it also affects how Black women are seen in real life, and even in reality TV shows. So Black women are seen as strong enough to carry emotional weight. Black women don't need tenderness. Black women can't be used for support, but no romance. Black women are replaceable, and this is not harmless entertainment. Media shapes expectations. When you constantly see Black women as the practice girlfriend, people start to internalize that stereotype without even realizing it.
And if you're listening to this right now, thinking, dang, I've seen this so many times, you're right, it's everywhere.
But let's give credit where it's due. Some shows do break the trope. Shows where Black women are chosen as the love interest, have storylines outside of men, get to be soft and complicated, are not used as life lessons, and are loved fully and all the way. So let's just think about like Barry and Iris from The Flash, Randall and Beth from This Is Us, Max and Sam from Black Mirror, and even Sam and David from Insecure Season 2. In some ways, representation like these matter because they rewrite old narratives. They show Black women are deserving of love, partnership, in-game status, not supporting roles in someone else's storyline.
Okay, now let's talk about about shows that said, we hear your concerns and we will absolutely not be addressing them. Firstly, Jolita will talk to us about Bridgerton, Maria Thompson.
Okay, so in like the show Bridgerton, it's on Netflix. It's mainly based in the Regency era in England. And in that show, they kind of use Maria, she's kind of like a side character who comes in to stay with her cousins. They end up trying to have her partner with this male that was the main character, but then end up having her being pregnant and then saying that it's a disgrace. So then the person, her cousin who she's staying with, ends up putting her information on blast for the people there because, during that era, that's not acceptable for a woman to be pregnant without having a partner. So when she did that, it ended up making the male character not want her. But then later on in the show, since they kicked Maria off, like we don't even know where she went, she just ended up marrying her brother's, her brother's ex, like somebody. She married somebody. But like the main character that she liked or was going to end up with ended up with a cousin that put her on blast. Like, that's just crazy. And then you have does somebody want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to add, I have a similar example of The Summer I Turned Pretty where the black girl called Nicole, she was used as a placeholder while Conrad and Belly were fighting. And they just used her kind of like just to fill the space until he was ready to be with Belly. And it's how they just use them and add them as like sidelines until like the main character is ready. They don't give him any storylines. And if they do, it's a bad storyline, which shows how messed up it really is.
Yeah, and then like even on top of that, like in like this show Once Upon a Time, they ended up using like they didn't really talk much about the love interest for Robin Hood, but just know that that was the wife, and then they ended up making her die off for some reason, who knows, just for the main hero to like have a happy ending who was actually the villain. And like it just kind of showed like they kind of made her death like like just like funny, like it just didn't make sense, just so that this main evil character can have a happy ending with a white man that's not literally on the show like that. But yeah, it just didn't make sense, and they didn't even end up together, so it was like it was no point. Like,
I totally feel you on that, especially when it comes to House of the Dragon. So in the books, one of the main characters, Damon's wife, does die, but she plays a much bigger role in the beginning of the book. She's super close with the woman he's going to marry after she dies, and everything. Except in the show, they kind of diminish her role. She's barely seen. She barely has any agency besides, birthing two of the children that's going to come into play later. And then she's just killed off, and he doesn't even mourn her much at her funeral before he sleeps with his future wife, which he does like the day after she is buried or burned in this world.
I watched that show too, and at first you don't think about it like that, but once you really sit down and think about it, you're like, this is so messed up. She literally just died and he's already moving on to his next counterpart, which was his cousin. So that's crazy.
that was crazy. I didn't even like I watched this show, but it was kind of like they did like later on in the episodes kind of like not talk about her but kind of talk about her, but it was just like it was weird. So
Yeah, I feel like that's like a perfect example for the disposable black girlfriend. It also makes me think of, I watched this show called You, and season one talks about Karen Minty, and she's played by Natalie Paul, and she's introduced as a black woman who is kind, emotional, intelligent, and stable, the kind of partner who listens, set boundaries, and everything, and treats Joe with respect. Joe is like the main character, right? Unlike Joe's white love interest, Beck, Karen, who's like manipulative or problematic. She's like the problematic girl. But she brings calm and balance to his chaotic life. Despite her stability and genuine care, the story writes her out as once Joe's obsession with Beck, and it resurfaces, if it makes sense. Karen's emotional labor, her support, and her presence are discarded, and not because she fails or does anything wrong, but simply because the plot no longer needs her. Disposable black girlfriend.
yeah, I've seen TikToks about her, and they were talking about like kind of like how she did dodge a bullet because he ended up being he was too crazy. But yeah, I did see that. Like it seemed like they didn't really have like any actual like character, like a background for her. It just seemed like she just popped up, if that makes sense, and then just left.
While you're bringing up like TikTok, I do kind of want to chime in about like children's media and about how it's even seen there. So it's kind of manipulating the minds of like young children to see that this is all right. Like, all of y'all have seen the show Austin Alley, right? You know that Austin's girlfriend, the one that has the really bad breath, they continue to use her so that Austin can like be on good terms with this really important person who's her father. I forgot exactly what he was, but that was just honestly, kind of crazy to me. And then afterwards, he dumps her and gets straight with Allie, who he proclaims to like be like the love of his life and whatever, which was crazy.
Yeah, I used to watch Disney Channel a lot, and Austin and Ally was one of those shows that I watched. And like, I remember watching it, and I was just kind of confused on like like why they made her character have like bad, like that was the thing that kind of like threw him off, was her having bad breath, and then them trying to like find ways to do it, but him secretly liking Allie this whole time and just kind of using Kara as like like helping him realize how much he liked her. And then I think he did cheat on her with Allie, I believe so. So yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah, that's low-key crazy. And also, I wanted to talk about how, when, as we said before, the disposable black girlfriends in entertainment impacts real life, even on reality TV shows like Love Island. You know, Love Island in the US is better, black people are better represented than, for example, in Love Island UK for years now, as you may be now. On Love Island UK, black female contestants often face patterns where they are sidelined, picked last, and coupling ceremonies are eliminated earlier than white contestants. Even when they are likable or compatible, they're often really interesting, but usually men don't go towards them for some reason, which it reflects the show that we all watch and how it internalizes our beliefs since we're little people. Individuals, sorry. These early eliminations are reduced screen time minor, the disposable black girlfriend trope, the romantic potential and emotional presence are minimized or discarded, not because of personality or merit, but due to the synthetic biases and social perceptions of desirability. So shows also sometimes, reality TV shows will be scripted, and they'll even if the black woman has a lot of traction or love from the audience, the producers will think, oh well, it'll be better if we had a white woman, so she's gonna go at the end of the ceremony and it's gonna bring more traction. But they don't know that young women love seeing themselves being represented. For example, in the lastly Love Island season 7, where Olandra was seen, a lot of dark-skinned women felt seen that time with Shelly and seen doing their makeup and being valued. And we need to see more of that in entertainment.
Yeah, that's I want to piggyback. That's why I kind of like don't watch like reality shows like that, especially like when it comes to Love Island, because like especially UK, like I've watched it plenty of times and I've seen like them use the like either the black characters, they'll just be there as like just there and they end up with nobody and they're only there for like an episode, then they get kicked off. Or like, how like what they do with the show is you have to choose somebody to stay with so that they can continue on to the next round. And I literally watched this person like tell the black girl like, oh, you're great, I want to be with you, like I've been thinking about you and stuff like that. And she chose him. But then when it was his time to choose her, he kind of was like, nah, yeah, I didn't really like you like that. And I was just kind of like, damn, like, because he was black himself, so that was just crazy. Like, why would you do that? Like, if you use that to stay on the show just to get money, but used her as a stepping stone to get with a white character that really didn't even like you like that, because I believe he got booted off. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just had to bring that point in.
No, yeah, as someone who watches Love Island, the men usually love to pick the black women just to stay on the show. Like, they'll be like, yes, I like you. And then the next episode, they're like so distant and like blaming her, like, you're love bombing me, but just using it as an excuse to like push her away and make her seem like she's doing too much. And actually, that was a big problem in Love Island USA last season, because Amaya, they kept using her as like, oh, to continue in the game. But then they would be like, girl, you're doing too much. Like, I don't want you anymore. Literally the next episode. And she would be crying and not understanding why they were treating her like this. And it just shows. And if someone sees that and they're watching it, they're going to feel so bad and be like, dang, like, that's so messed up. But also, Love Island UK didn't have their first black winners until I think like 2 seasons ago, which shows, and they've been playing for many, many years, which shows that they don't really want, like, even the fans who watch the shows, they don't really like to see black women happy or winning. Like, they want to see the white women. Like, that is just always used for like inclusivity and stuff like that. So yeah.
Do we have like any more examples or you guys want to talk about?
To wrap it up, I want to talk about one example where this was shown really good. In The Flash, we have Barry and Iris, and from episode 1, you could see that Barry's love for Iris is like the central part of his story. Iris isn't the backup girl, and she's not keeping his spot warm until some other love interest shows up. They give her a fully developed story outside of Barry. She's a journalist, a CEO, a future CEO, and she has like personality, and they're just not using her as like a trope. He is constantly telling her that he loves her and stuff like that, and like actually showing that he does, like making actions and stuff like that. And she isn't used as a lesson or as a stepping stone. Like, she's the end game. So that is like not seen very often, and this is something that we need to see more in representing Black women in media, and how they do need to have stories and they're worth having stories. So yeah.
Bring it all together, the Black girlfriend trope isn't just a TV trend. It's a pattern rooted in how stories frame Black women. But once we understand it, we can challenge it, call it out, and support shows that actually do right by Black women. So I want to thank you guys for hanging with us today, and have a nice rest of your day.